Okay, this is the video where I show you guys the wonderful Gameinformer PlayStation 4 issue starring infamous Second Son, and this is my favorite issue of all time. So let's get down to reading it. I accidentally stopped the video. In a series that has always presented players with choices, fans were forced to make the most important decision of all at the end of Infamous 2. Cole McGrath could join in with the Beast and rampage from city to city, creating more conduits, or he could sacrifice himself and scores of other conduits to save humanity. Developer Sucker Punch looked at the PlayStation 3 trophy metrics to get a glimpse of what players chose on their first playthrough, and their preference was clear. In the post-numere world of infamous Second Son, Cole McGrath is dead. His sacrifice hasn't created a utopia, however. This new America is fueled by culture of fear, and it's up to a new hero to fight for freedom. Oh, this was what Nate Fox said at the beginning of the game, the E3, so I'm probably not going to read that. If you haven't seen that E3 thing, go see it now, because that's basically the whole thing. Yeah, it's exactly word for word what he said. Okay, supernatural foes. Most DUP guards feature behavior that's in line with SWAT teams or trained military police. However, others appear to utilize some kind of supernatural ability to shield themselves and move quickly around the battlefield. Sucker Punch wouldn't elaborate on how DUP DUP enemies acquired their own powers, but it seems possible that some conduits may be within the organization's ranks. Oh, this is Ian's, or sorry, this is United Com's. I'm sorry for saying that, but I think they all know what your Facebook page is, so I don't think you care that much. But anyway, this is United Com's, I think YouTube channel thing, and it says, Smoke is only the first power that Delsin acquires, although the studio is keeping his other abilities under wraps. Alright, a new kind of hero. Would you be representing a new protagonist? With the DUP representing security, the new protagonist of Infamous Second Son is meant to represent liberty. A 25-year-old Native American Delsin Rowe has always, or Rao, however you want to say, I call it Rowe, has always been the artistic type with a chip on his shoulder, a fan of anti-authoritarian street art. He's fond of tagging and his own tagging buildings with his own personal pieces. I think that was actually something that he spray painted onto a building, so that's pretty neat. Alright. Despite his artistic learnings, his rebellious reluctance to jump through the hoops of the system has led to an unremarkable life. His average unaccomplished existence changes drastically when the conduit transport vehicle crashes near his hometown. He witnesses the wreck and instinctively moves in to help those wounded. Upon dragging injured conduit from the wreckage, something unexpected happens to Delsin. He suddenly learns that he's been a conduit all along, and his ability is a unique one that opens the doors to many possibilities. After attempting to save the injured conduit, Delsin realizes that he's somehow obtained the power to control smoke. His conduit abilities aren't confined to something that simple. However, his natural powers is to absorb the abilities of other conduits. Coming into contact with this smoke conduit has imbued Delsin with one new power. It won't be the only property the new hero can control in Infamous Second Son. Unlike the brooding Cole, Delsin... I'll just do this. Alright. Hold on. Unlike the brooding Cole, Delson seems genuinely thrilled by his newfound abilities. Previously, he was a young man full of ideas, but without the means to follow through on anything of significance. Now that he's aware of his potential, he can't wait to take his power to the streets and make a difference. Controlling smoke may only be the beginning of Delson's compatibilities, but it's the only one that Sucker Punch demonstrated for us during the live gameplay. Sorry. Alright. Hold on. I lost my place. Anything significant. Now that he's aware of his potential, blah 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 blah. Controlling smoke may be only be blah 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 blah. Oh. Okay. As Delson explores Seattle, he has the opportunity to take out various forward operating bases run by DUP. Bum rushing these walled fortresses is always an option, but brute force won't be as effective as systematically taking down security guards with Delson's powers. Making a statement, while no one knows for sure what he looks like or what his name is, street artist Banksy has become well known via his graffiti in the documentary Exit Through the Gift Shop, and anti-authority sentiments of his art are echoed in many of the themes of Infamous Second Son. So apparently there's a famous tagger that is mentioned throughout the game. Though tough decisions, both previous games in Infamous series placed a heavy emphasis on player choice. Some decisions divided clearly down the good versus evil line, while the moral waters of others were murkier. Sucker Punch says players will have many tough decisions to make throughout the course of Second Son, but declined to offer any direct examples. During a gameplay demo, we saw one DUP officer attempt to surrender to Delson's power, considering the player was given the choice to kill him anyway or let him live. It looked like an example of some kind of karma system. Anyway, more substantial choices may have to be made when Delson confronts other conduits, but we don't yet know the ramifications of these. Perhaps players must choose between sacrificing conduits and gaining their power, or letting them live and option not to receive them. In my opinion, I want every power I can get, which is kind of stupid why they would do that. It didn't take long for DUP to set up installations after the transport crash, and players can take them right back down just as quickly. We watch as designer Jamie Grassemer, I think that's how you pronounce it, Jamie Grassemer, turns Delson into an anti-authority wrecking ball, causing all kinds of trouble for the oppressive government agency. Using his standard smoke projectile, he destroys security cameras with ease, and with his smoke dash maneuver that will remind comic book fans of Nightcrawler, Delson disappears into an air duct. By the way, Nightcrawler is from X-Men. At ground level, and quickly emerges on a building's rooftop. These ducts are frequently found in Second Son's version of Seattle, and should make navigation a fun and speedy affair. Those who love climbing everything in sight as Cole McGrath don't have anything to worry about, as Delson is just as adept as his predecessor. From his elevated vantage point, Delson rains down smoking fireballs on walkways in the base below. They crumble to the ground, causing DUP agents to fall and demonstrating some of the new environmental destructibility. Here are some of the pictures. So apparently you can actually destroy buildings now, which has only been done in very few games. So I'm looking forward to that. From his elevated vantage point... Oh, I already read that crap. Now in the middle of the base, Delson demonstrates some crowd control. A minigun toting heavy emerges from a DUP van and quickly becomes Delson's main priority. And before he can focus on the big baddie, the numerous agents surrounding the protagonist need to be dispatched. Delson unleashes a smoke cloud that causes all agents in its area of effect to temporarily be immobilized. With them out of the equation for now, he takes out the heavy with a barrage of smoke. As the coughing guards recover, they barely have time to get their bearings before being disoriented by Delson's constant smoke dashes and attacks. Delson is a powerful conduit who naturally grows stronger as the game progresses, but his powers are finite. Like Cole, he needs to replenish his supply from the environment. Finite being the opposite of infinite. Finite means that there's only a limited amount of everything. Like Cole, he needs to replenish his supply from the environment. Electricity was found everywhere in Empire City and Numere, so Cole essentially had an unlimited supply of ammo wherever he looked. With smoke being less omnipresent, Delson has to be more creative. Chimneys offer an ample supply, which fill Delson's smoke reserves if he feels like traveling to the roof. If he needs a quick fix on the ground, destroying a car is always an option. As the automobile's wreckage burns, we can absorb its smoke and get right back to the action. He can also turn the DUP's own tactics against them. Not all of their soldiers fully understand Delson's powers. So that tear gas canister meant to disable the protagonist can essentially turn into an ammo stash. So they're not quite that smart. They'd actually throw smoke at him to give him more. That's how stupid they are. The move to PlayStation 4, basically it just talks about what Nate Fox is talking about. It doesn't mention anything new. I read it before. If you haven't seen everything from the Gameinformer crap, then you might as well. Chain of command. Delson is far from useless when he runs out of smoke power. If you need... Oh, wait a minute. See that? Unitedcom used that picture before. He said it was some satanic symbol, but he said he wasn't... he wasn't too ecstatic to see that. However, he doesn't really care either, because it's still a good game. If he needs to defend himself while searching for the next source of smoke, the chain that he wraps around his fist does the trick. Between smoke attacks, we saw the new protagonist take out plenty of DUP agents by flailing his deadly weapon around. Here are some more pictures to check out while I'm reading it. Alright. As of this writing, the method in which players absorb smoke is tied to the PlayStation 4 controller's touchpad. Pressing both thumbs down on the pad causes smoke to swirl into Delson's body. But this isn't the only unique way Sucker Punch is using the new hardware. The same DUP fingerprint scanners that are used to identify conduits also open the containment cells that hold them. The deal an additional blow to the DUP's presence. Players can approach these cells and free the imprisoned suspectors, foiling the DUP's investigations, or dupe. At the end of the demo at the base, we saw one more use of touchpad while taking out a large piece of dupe machinery. Delson has to pull up on a brightly lit control module with one hand, blasting at it with the other. This is accomplished by swirling the finger on the touchpad, followed by repeated taps of the trigger button with the player's other hand. Throughout the skirmish at DUP's base, Griesemer explains a new philosophy that the team is bringing to Second Son. We want to create simple mechanics, he